There's no denying that I have planted up all the grapevine garden, but I still have neglected it to the point that it needs some work. It really needs some work. I've concentrated on the fig and olive plot, which now is almost finished. You know, I've got some little jobs here and there, but today, let's go down the grapevine garden. Let's look at what needs to be done. And trust me, there are some things that seriously need to be done today, but I think today will be enough to just get it back on track, weed, get everything sorted, and I'll show you all around what I've done. So we've popped down, as you can see, there is weed in the garlic. The cabbage and all are okay. These are all weeded and mulched. Cabbage are looking fantastic, to be honest. The onions, they could do with a weed. A lot of these are going to seed. I think they're more the overwintering ones, but I also got some that are walking onions as well. So they're supposed to do that. They're doing their job. The potatoes are looking okay. So is this bed, but I could do with some weeding, but God, look. I've got some brambles here. So my plan today is, it looks worse than it is really. It just needs a good prune. A lot of it put into the compost heap, but the one thing I desperately do is this, the cherry tree. The cherry tree is laden of cherries, but I've noticed the birds are trying to pop in here and get some now as well. So I need to address this, but I've also noticed I've got an infestation. So I think I'm gonna nip off the tops of these to get rid of the main amount. I don't wanna net this and leave all these mites inside so that they'll just infest this tree. So I'm gonna trim it back a little bit now and then hopefully keep the birds off these beautiful cherries.
From my window, sun's coming up like the day before. You're like a stone on my pillow. I don't make a sound when I shut the door. You don't have to wake up yet.
So as you can see, the net's on now, and as you can see, there's a zip here that you can unzip to collect all the cherries, but a lot of them now are almost close. They're ripening up really well, but I'm really pleased with this. And you also tie it up really tight at the bottom, stop the birds from getting in, because that's where you don't want to get a bird trapped in there. So I'm really happy with this. Good morning, girls. Come on. So I've took a good dent out of the work today. So let me show you what I've done so far. And it's looking all right. It wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be, to be honest. It was more just weeding and just moving a few things around. Let me show you what I've done. So I weeded through the onion bed and took out all the ones that needed to be harvested and some that went to bolt. But I also had a pile of shallots as well, so I'm happy about that. So I've weeded through the garlic and strawberry bed, and there's actually a pile of strawberries coming on these plants, so I'm happy about that. I also gave the main garlic bed a good weeding through, and it took quite a lot of weed out there. There was quite a lot of marestail, so that's all coming off. And I've noticed there's a little bit of rest, but there's also some dying back as well. So I think the garlic won't be long before I'll be harvesting all of that. Down here I gave it a good bit of tidying. If you see, the girls have loved helping me weed and pick out all the bugs, but they've also used the mini polytunnel, which I haven't even planted up yet, as a nice dust bath. So they're loving the fact that they can just scratch around there and pop all the dust under their feathers, and that actually helps them with preventing them getting any mites, and it shakes them all off. And as you've seen, I've also put the cover on the cherry tree, and yeah, future cherries. So this will be an ongoing project for the next week. I've got a few days free that I can come over and carry on doing the projects that I need to do. So yeah, really happy about that. So it's a new day and I thought I'd come over and I'll show you all the progress I've done, the setbacks, the issues I've had, and show you that no garden is perfect. So I've had quite a few comments the last couple of weeks saying how your plots are perfect, immaculate, and I wish I had a plot like yours. And I was reading them and that wasn't the angle I was trying to get at, and they're definitely not perfect and they're definitely not immaculate. And today I think I'm going to show you, warts and all, of the garden, because I try and show it as realistic as I can, but no garden is perfect, and there's always things that'll set you back. There's always weeds, there's always things that you could have done better, and there's always things that you need to do. So let's have a look around. So let's start in the polytunnel. So where do I start? Okay, so this side all perfectly planted out, is looking great. The tomatoes are growing really fast. This side not so good. I've still got tomatoes in pots, I've still got my corn, everything else is still aching to go out, and I just haven't got the time. And the beans, but they're the positives. The beans, oh, tripping over. The beans are flowering and out amazingly, and I'm hoping I'm gonna get some beans in the next couple of weeks. Same as the strawberries, I'm getting loads of strawberries, so I'm happy with those. The sunflowers, they're desperate to go out. Pumpkins, there's just so much. So nothing's perfect, you know. I've got areas that I've got junk and wood and things that I need to replace and repair, but I didn't want anyone to think that, you know, this is the perfect garden. Let's carry on with the tour. Now, I'm not saying I haven't done a lot of progress on this plot, because I have. I mean, the fig and olive have really taken 99% of my time, and the grapevine garden, which was the mothership and still is the mothership of this channel, but she has taken the brunt of of this at the moment, because my time's been spent on trying to get this at the scratch for growing, and that down there, well, it wasn't too bad, but she needs a little bit more loving. We'll go down there in a minute and I'll show you the grapevine garden as well. I have done some work on it. I've weeded through as much as I can for the last couple of days, but loads more to do. So I popped up the other evening and I strung all these asparagus up, because I noticed that a few of them were dying off, and I think it was because the wind was knocking them back and forth. And there's weeds in this bed as well that I need to get out, and this colt's foot, this is absolutely rife on my plot, and I got to really dig through this in autumn and try and get as much out as I can, but it's a nightmare of a perennial weed to get rid of. So they're all strung up now. I've got a few crowns that I'm going to replace and put in here. There's 3 that has died, but it's not so bad. I've got quite a lot in there. Again, in here, raspberries are looking fantastic. We've got loads and loads of fruit now, but again, colt's foot all through this bed. Overall, it is in pretty good nick. This bed, again, I've weeded and weeded, as you know. I've had issues with this bed since I've taken over this plot, but the onions are coming okay now. I've thrown out all the bolted onions, but I've got a few in here now that are just going bulbing up, and then I'm going to harvest these, and this bed's going to have a good overhaul, and hopefully we'll get it at the scratch. I've put in 2 courgette plants here. I've left a gap here because I'm going to put an archway here today, and I will have some pumpkins on it. The last of the green garlic. I actually harvested a lot of garlic here, and it was really nice because Amber and Robin came over, my nieces, and they spent the day planting up, and they did some watering, and she brought her wheelbarrow, and yeah, it was really nice that we spent a few hours here. She did some lovely watering. She brought her watering can, and it was really nice to see her interested. She took some plants home and did a bit of a harvest, and she actually had a really good garlic haul from there. I used the smallest, cloves that I had to spare. I didn't want to waste them, and this bed was free last autumn. I planted it all up, and when we were pulling them up, the bulbs were pretty good. So I think the ones on the grapevine garden, it won't be long before I'll be harvesting all those as well. I think I'm gonna have an amazing harvest there. So yeah, it was really nice that Amber came up, and Robin as well.
Hello, Amber, eh? Hello, Robin. Oh my God, you bashed your head then.
I got the same hat as you, look. How did you know you had the same hat as me? How did you know? Alright, grab that one there, that one looks juicy. Give him a yank. Oh my god. That's good. Have you done that before?
Window.
Can we do some more? Spread, spread. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Whoa!
Ah.
Uh-oh, I got water on your glove then. Loads then. Is Daddy Owl coming to pinch the feet? I hope not.
Oh, that's okay. Rob is like, what's that, a chicken?
Quack, quack.
What's he in then?
You know where the pond is.
Is it cold?
Oh, it's cold, Amber. It's really cold.
I'm making a spider web. He's making a spider web on you. On the barrow. Web on it.
Yeah, job done.
Bye.
It is quite shady at the back of this plot, but these beans are taking a battering from the wind, and I think I'm going to have to put a shielding around it or something, maybe some perspex or some plastic with some canes, because they're really struggling at the moment. And these are the pongo and also the black turtle bush beans, so I don't really want them to be damaged because I want to keep all these for seed for next year. But yeah, it is getting a bit windier, and that's the same that's applying to the banana tree. It's taking a battering at the moment because we're getting so much wind. The leaves are not being able to form properly without being snapped and damaged, but hopefully it'll calm down. Like everyone else at the moment, the weather is so dry and you're trying to water and water, but yeah, we'll get through it, and before long we'll be moaning about the rain. So overall, yeah, this plot isn't perfect. It's definitely a progression from this to this. You know, I've worked really hard for the last 8 months on this plot, but there's still plenty more to do. And if yours is the same, don't worry about it. Enjoy it. Spend your time productively on your plot, but you need to enjoy it as well. Don't put the pressure on. It's a constant battle, and it's one that you'll never win, but you just keep weeding, keep planting, keep sowing and watering, and hopefully you get some good harvest at the end of it. I'm Danny, and this is the Grapevine Garden.